annually, carrying with it basically everything to keep the world advancing and being what it is today, from groceries to toxic and explosive materials. And the proof of this is that around 83% of all cargo transported in the world is done by ships, and a large part of it is carried inside containers, ensuring safety and protection from the elements. However, with the atmosphere constantly changing, favoring the emergence of bad weather accompanied by strong winds, rain, and great instability of the sea waters, ships navigating through them are at the mercy of these conditions, subject to extreme events. Ships are designed in such a way that they can lose a significant portion of the contents being transported. This usually happens in the open sea, and when it does, damages and losses are certain, inevitable. To give you an idea, over 3,000 containers fell into the sea in 2020, and more than 1,000 fell in the first 4 months of 2021, more than double the average of containers lost between 2008 and 2019, according to the World Shipping. Experts attribute this increase to 4 main factors: the increasingly larger design and size of container ships, the increasingly severe weather, poor arrangement of containers on ships, and attempts to reduce costs by overloading ships. And in this regard, they usually have a point. Since ships carry many containers, on average more than 17,000, it is impossible to know exactly what is inside each of them. In the case of container falls, there may be flammable or biologically hazardous materials, such as chemicals, fuels, solvents, and radioactive materials. These materials are usually soluble in water, quickly mixing with seawater and posing a significant risk to marine life and neighboring populations. Therefore, when these events occur, the ship must immediately communicate and inform the provider about the incident as quickly as possible, while also sending precise geographical coordinates of the incident location for search ships to move as quickly as possible. However, if the weather is still bad and the sea is rough, search ships may be forced to abort the mission or wait until the situation improves, which can take several hours, further aggravating the situation. This was the case with the container ship Annapolis, which sailed from Singapore to the port of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia and broke in half on July 17, 2013, due to bad weather. It sank with all its cargo of 4,382 containers. The ship split in two due to a crack in the middle caused by bad weather, with the rear sinking on June 27 and the bow sinking on July 11 due to a fire. There were several attempts to rescue the cargo, but all were unsuccessful due to bad weather. The crew of 26 men abandoned the ship in time and were rescued, but the ship took about 1,500 tons of fuel to the bottom of the sea. During a night of bad weather on November 30, 2020, the container ship Annapolis, which sailed from China to the United States, encountered a violent storm cell with strong winds and large waves that caused the violent rolling of the ship, resulting in the loss of 1,816 containers, of which 64 contained hazardous materials that sank. In fact, a large part of the containers sank due to damage and cracks caused by the fall, impacting with seawater, resulting in an estimated loss of over $200 million. Even the containers that did not fall into the sea and remained on the ship were severely damaged due to the fall, or being hit by other containers containing heavier loads. Not to mention that many of them came loose, and the cargo inside fell into the sea. Hey there, hi. Large container ships usually travel with more than 17,000 containers stacked one on top of the other, easily surpassing 20 meters in height from the ship's floor. Even with all the countermeasures, in truly rough seas, they end up coming loose and falling into the sea. Inside them, there are always valuable cargoes such as cars, luxury decoration items, various machinery, construction materials, among others. The biggest loser is always the cargo owner. But recovering containers from the bottom of the sea and bringing them to the surface is really challenging. The main problem is the depth of the sea, preventing the sending of divers to at least locate the containers. The only practical means is the use of remotely operated underwater vehicles, capable of descending to great depths of up to 4,000 meters. These vehicles are equipped with various mechanics, lights, sensors, and cameras able to find, manipulate, and secure the steel cables of the containers to be lifted by a rescue ship. A very meticulous and delicate task that can extend for several hours or days, depending on the agility of the vehicle and the location of the fall. When the containers are recovered, there is usually not much to do with the cargo since seawater is highly corrosive. If there is a car inside, besides being severely damaged by the fall, it will also be heavily rusted. Everything depends on how long it took to be removed, and generally, there is nothing left to salvage. Furthermore, the sea pollution generated by these events is incalculable. Many containers end up opening on impact, and the cargo spreads, including tires, cardboard, cars, metals, among others, all into the sea. When the lost or damaged cargo is the responsibility of the transport company, it is up to them to reimburse the cargo owner, but this can take some time. Hey there, hi, trains are also a very attractive and widely used means of cargo transport, just like ships. Despite offering a slightly larger cargo opportunity compared to ships, the journey is slower and more time-consuming. However, transporting large volumes of cargo by ships remains more attractive, efficient, cheap, and safe currently, even though it is subject to the terrible conditions of the seas that may eventually result in the loss of some containers.